Hello, welcome to TraceLink University. I'm Caitlin Shalata, and today we're going to talk about how you can integrate your SAP iDocs with the TraceLink Mint solution. Many companies struggle to integrate external parties to their SAP system because SAP relies on iDocs for internal communication. Because of that, companies have to rely on outdated EDI point-to-point-like solution. These types of solutions can be costly, they can take a very long time to implement, and they have to be maintained over time. Because of that, most companies have only ever been able to integrate the top tier partners and aren't able to scale beyond that. This lack of real-time data can directly impact your revenue, your working capital, and really your overall day-to-day operational performance. Today, we are going to look at how the TraceLink Mint solution can help you solve these challenges by creating a faster and more scalable way to integrate your external partners. Specifically, we are going to look at how you can use your native iDocs to integrate partners on the other side, regardless of what system they are using. Many companies face significant barriers integrating external partners to SAP because SAP relies on iDocs for those integrations. Because of that, companies have created custom code solutions. They have built individual portals where people are coming in, they're logging the information directly in the portal, or they're relying on traditional point-to-point methods like EDI. These types of integrations have high IT complexity and really can't scale beyond many of their internal partners. So how does TraceLink do it? Well, the TraceLink Mint solution is built on top of our supply chain network. That, combined with our canonical model, which acts as our universal translator, means that you can integrate in any format, including iDocs, regardless of the system on the other side. This model eliminates those costly point-to-point integrations because it means you only ever have to integrate once and you only have to do it using your native SAP language. Now let's go see Mint in action. So the very first step we are going to do here is what we call creating a process network. A process network is a shared digital workspace. So you can think about your company and you can think about the different business units you have inside your company. What we're going to do is we're going to model those different business units inside of our system as that shared workspace. So we are logged into the system here. I'm in my demo environment. I am in Sapphire. These first few steps are administrative tasks, and they are one-time tasks per business unit that you are setting up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find my main menu on the left-hand side, and I'm going to find the administration on the left-hand side. On the left nav, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find networks, and I'm going to select that. Then inside networks, I can see any network that I have set up so far. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a new network to your system. So I'm going to find the little plus sign here on the right side that says Add Network, and I'm going to select that. Okay, so today we are working in the Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower, or MINT for short. So I'm going to select that as the application. And then I'm going to give my network name. As I mentioned, this is your shared digital workspace for these business units. So an example might be that you have a generics part of your business versus a branded. Maybe you have an animal health business versus human health. So think about those different business units you have, and that's going to be the network that you are going to set up. So for today, what we're going to do is I'm going to set up a generics business unit. You can give it a short description just so that if you look back, you can remember what this was set up. And then we have the base solution and our custom solution. When setting up a process network for the very first time, what you want to do is you want to always select the base solution. That's going to allow you to see all of the functions associated with that. As you're going through this process, if something needs to be changed, for example, you want to add a workflow step or an approval step, right? You don't want all the data to automatically flow. You can add that, you can change the screens, and then you can come back here and pick that custom solution. So again, for the first step, when you're setting this up for the very first time, we're always going to pick the base solution. So I'm going to leave that selected here, and I'm going to click Add down here. You can see up here on the banner that the network has been added to your system. So if I look down here, I can see my generics business process network that we have just created. The beauty of the TraceLink system is that you can create these shared digital workspaces to mirror your business units internally. This is going to restrict user access and make sure that the data is segregated appropriately. So the second step is to create that B2B integration where your SAP system is going to send data into TraceLink. For that, I'm going to go back to my main menu over here, and I'm going to select the extensible TraceLink Transfer AWS. It's going to pop up in a different tab. And here you can see the search B2B messages as well as B2B connections. I'm going to select search B2B connections on the left-hand side. Here you'll be able to see any B2B that you have set up previously. We're going to set up a new one today. So I'm going to go here and find the plus sign on the right-hand side to add the B2B connection. Because we are talking about exchanging IDOCs today, we're specifically going to look at either AS2 or SFTP. SMTP is for sending emails, which we wouldn't do using IDOCs. So we're going to focus on the AS2 and SFTP today. If you're going to use AS2, select that and click Next. We're going to need some information from your IT folks. So we're going to need the AS2 ID, the URL, the signing certificate, the signing chain, the encryptions. And then once you get down here to the choreography type, you're going to select Other because we're exchanging IDOCs and not X12 or Edifact. So you're going to need to gather all of this information from your IT team. You're going to come in here, you're going to enter it, and you're going to click Add. Once you click Add, it will show up down here on the B2B connections, and you'll be able to use that for any and all integrations that you have with your external partners. If I come back to the plus sign, we can look at the SFTP. So I'm going to select SFTP as my B2B connection type. I'm going to select Next. Here, you're going to enter the username. It does need to be all capitals, so make sure that it is all capital letters. And then the key. And then again, we're going to pick the choreography type as Other, because today we are looking at how to integrate IDOCs and not X12 or Edifact. Once you've created that, again, you click Add, and it will show up back here on our B2B connections. I'm going to use this B2B, this SFTP that we have created for all of the other connections. So we've just completed step number 2. And the beauty of the TraceLink system is that once you create that B2B connection once, you no longer have to go back to your IT team every time you are onboarding another partner. You get to use this same integration B2B for all of your partners, regardless of the system that they're using on the other side. So this is really going to help you scale and manage those complex IT integrations. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to configure the system to communicate using those standard IDOC transactions. For that, I'm going to go back here to the administration. And as you can see, my tabs are staying where they are, so I can easily navigate from one task to the next. On the left-hand side, what I want to find now is the B2B integration on the left-hand side. I'm going to select that. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to load those IDOC transform set. So on the top here, I'm going to find the tab for transform sets, and I'm going to select that. This is the page where we are going to add all of those IDOCs to our B2B connection. So I'm going to find my B2B connection down here. And I'm going to view the B2B, the transforms that I have already set up. You can see that I have loaded a number of standard IDOC transforms already. So you can see I have a delivery 02, I have an order 05, somewhere in here I have a delivery 07. So TraceLink has a number of standard IDOC transforms that you can use so that you don't have to do any custom work on your side. You can just send your native IDOCs into the TraceLink system. We are going to convert that into our canonical. And from there, that shared universal data format is what we can then map out to all of your trade partners. So that's how our system can integrate using your standard IDOCs, and the partner on the other side can get whatever format they want. They can get an EDI message, they can get a custom CSV if they want, because our system is translating your IDOC into our canonical model. So TraceLink has standard IDOC formats. You can choose them depending on which version of the IDOCs that your system is using. If there's a minor change to our standard IDOC that you have made because you have made some sort of customization internally, we can easily update the transform and make sure that we're meeting your requirements for your IDOCs. So what you're going to do is you're going to come here and you're going to import these transfers by selecting this. And you're going to pick this from a CSV file and on your browser, and you're going to click import. Once you have done that, we have told the system, this is the IDOC format that you are going to send directly from your SAP system. There's a few additional steps that we need to do before we complete our integration. So I'm going to go back here to the B2B integration page where we just were. When sending data inbound into TraceLink or outbound from TraceLink into your SAP system, there's a few additional setup steps that we need to do. So the first is sending data into TraceLink. So for that, I'm going to be here on the inbound outbound settings page under B2B integration. I'm going to come here and on the right-hand side, I'm going to configure the inbound B2B messages. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select Mint because that's the application that we're working on today. So Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower. I'm going to pick my company because right now we are setting up an integration from your internal enterprise SAP system to the Mint solution. And then I'm going to pick that transform set that I have just set up for you. Okay, so now we are on the Configure Inbound Messages page. What we're going to do is we're going to select our application, which is our Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower, Mint. And then we are going to pick our company level sender. What we are doing today is we are connecting your enterprise SAP system with the TraceLink applications. So we want to pick that company level sender. If you were doing something different, if you had multiple systems and they were connecting at a location level, we could set that up and you can send that data into TraceLink. The next thing we want to do is we want to select our transform set. So the first thing we're going to do is actually select this thing here that says Sapphire/PPT or post-processing transform. So what the post-processing transform does is it allows TraceLink to know when you are sending a file from SAP, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to tell the system which process network to send the data to. Because if you're sending, say, a purchase order, that purchase order could be for your generics business, but it could also be for your branded business. So the system needs to know first which process network to send it to. After that, it's also going to route it to the appropriate orchestration within that process network. So is this a transaction for external manufacturing between you and your CMOs? Is it a transaction associated with your downstream partners that you're selling to? So the post-processing transform essentially takes a lot of that custom code that you would have to build into your SAP system and takes that work out of there by simply putting it in TraceLink, and the system is going to know exactly how to process that file. The third thing it can do is if there's any custom requirements that you have between you and your trade partners, but you don't necessarily want to build that logic into your SAP system to put that in the IDOC, you can simply put that configuration in the post-processing transform. What it'll do is it'll take your standard IDOC, it will augment it or change it in whatever way into the canonical, so then that canonical can then properly map it out to your trade partners. So it takes a lot of that custom work that's hard to build and maintain over time, and essentially moves that into the TraceLink application where it's fast and easier to maintain, and it's more scalable because you can do it for all partners. So that is the beauty of the post-processing transform. So we're going to set that up here. I'm going to click Save, and then it will be done. Now that we have set the inbound settings for when you're sending data into TraceLink, we need to do the opposite. We need to set the settings to send data out of TraceLink into your SAP system. So if here was the inbound settings, right next to it is the outbound settings. So I'm going to select the up arrow, configure outbound B2B messages. Again, we are working in Mint, so I'm going to select that. And in this case, I'm sending that data back to my enterprise SAP system. So I'm going to select that company level setting. Then I'm going to scroll down here to my message delivery rules. So in this case, you are telling the system to send data to the external system. The system needs to be explicitly told that they need to start sending data into your SAP system. And we're going to do this for every transaction that you expect to receive into your system. So for example, if you're expecting to receive purchase orders from your customers, you'd come in here and select the purchase order message type. On the delivery options, we have a few different options that you can use. The first is no processing at all. What that will do is when your partner sends a purchase order into the system, it will only create a canonical. It won't do any further processing on the message. You can come in, you can view it in the UI, you can manage it that way. The next is transform and deliver. What that's going to do is it's going to take that purchase order that your partner sent, it's going to transform it into our canonical, and then it's going to transform it out into your SAP and send it to that B2B that we just set up. The third option is transform only. Maybe you want the IDOC, but you don't want it to be automatically delivered to your system. What you can do is the system can transform it into that IDOC, can manually download it, and then manually upload that to your SAP system. For today, what we're going to do is we're going to do transform and deliver because we want those messages to automatically go to your SAP system. So I'm going to select that. Again, for every transaction that you're expecting to receive, you're going to set these same types of transactions. So maybe you want the batch master or an advanced forecast plan. So you can come in here and you can do that. You can easily add messages as you're doing your integration. So for example, if you're just starting with purchase order, you can set that. If you're coming in and you're going to start receiving more messages, you can come in after the fact and add them as you build out more and more integrations to your SAP system. So I'm going to leave that as my purchase order and I'm going to click Save. There's one additional step that we need to do before we are completed with our integration. And that's here on location settings. So I'm still in B2B integration. I'm going to select location settings on the top navigation. From here, you're going to see this little gear on the right-hand side that says Configure Location Integration Settings. I'm going to select that. Now that we're in Configure Location Integration Settings, I'm going to select the B2B that I set up prior to this. I'm going to pick my company location and my company ID. Because we're communicating with your enterprise system, we want to set this up at the company level. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see some additional connection type information. This is the additional information that your SAP IDOC requires. Because we're communicating with other systems on the other side that aren't SAP IDOCs, they may or may not have this type of information. So in order to receive an IDOC into your SAP system, we need to set this information here so that your partners don't have to worry about that at all. They can continue to communicate how they're communicating, and we will make sure that the IDOC is correctly formed and correctly set up so that it can be routed to your SAP system. You can see down here that we need the logistical address for the send LAD field or the receiver's logistical address for the receive LAD field. So enter this information, click save, and then whenever you get that IDOC internally, you'll make sure that it's correctly formatted. The beauty of all of this is that your partners don't need to worry about any of this. They can continue communicating however they are. The messages will come in here, we'll translate them, and we'll correctly form those IDOCs into your SAP system. Once you're done, click save here. So with those few steps, we are done setting up your SAP system. That one integration that you have just built is the last integration that you will have to build. You can reuse this integration for any and all partners going forward. The next things that we are going to do is we are going to look at how you onboard the partners. These are the few steps that you would need to do on an ongoing basis. And the beauty of this is that you don't need your IT staff to do that because we just set up the integration, it's running, we're sending IDOCs. Now you can take the next steps of onboarding your partners and you can put that in the hands of your business users. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add the master data for those partners that you want to exchange data with. To do that, I'm going to come here and I'm going to go back to my main menu and I'm going to select master data. We have three types of master data. We have company master data that represents you and your company information. We have partners. We're going to look at that today. And we have the products that you're exchanging data with. So I'm going to select partners on the left-hand side. Once in partners, you have the partner information and the location information. If I scroll down, I can see any partner that I have added to the system that I'm going to exchange data with. So you have a few options when adding partner information. You can export the information so you can see what partners have already been added. You can import the partner information. So if you know you're going to add a large number of partners all at the same time. So for example, if you want to onboard all of your CMOs all at the same time, and you don't want to have to add them one by one, you can create a CSV file and you can upload them and they can be done quick and easy. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to add a partner to master data. So I have company level information. Anything with a star or an asterisk is required. So I'm going to add a company here. Metavonic. I'm going to add that it is active, so I'm exchanging data with it. Once you've completed adding the address, we're going to come down here to the identifier section. You're required to add at least one global identifier for each partner. The reason we have global identifiers is because what the system is going to do is it's going to match this global identifier against the TraceLink network. TraceLink has almost 300,000 entities in the supply chain network. And so we need to make sure that we're matching against the exact company that you want to exchange data with. So you can sort of think about your master data as your slice of that supply chain network. These are the companies that exchange data with you, and TraceLink has the full supply chain network of all entities out there. So you're going to add an identifier type. It can be, a DEA, DUNS, HIN, GLN, whatever it might be. Select it as primary. You can add additional identifiers by clicking the plus here if you have more than one. For now, I'm just going to add one. And then I'm going to click add down here. Now you can see that my partner has been added to my master data. So that is the first step to exchange data with that partner. The next step is back here in administration. So I'm going to click administration on the top tab. I'm going to find links on the left-hand side. I'm going to select links. And down here, I'm going to be on the multi-network tab, and I'm going to find the plus button here to add a link. Just like you could add master data in bulk, so if you want to add many partners all at the same time, you can do the same thing with your links. So there is an option to upload the file via CSV. So you can come here, you can select the application, in this case, multi-information network tower. You can pick the business network that we created. And then you can pick the roles for your partners that they might need. And then select the file from your desktop. For now, we're going to go through and we're actually going to create one link here. So I'm going to click the Add Links button on the right-hand side. I'm going to select Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower, or MINT, as the application. And I'm going to select the process network that I just created, which is our generics business unit. And then I'm going to find the entity that I want to link to. I'm going to use Appersona. You can send an email notification to the party on the other side. If you know who the administrator is going to be on your partner side, you can easily send them notifications so that they will have access to the system. If you don't know who's on the other side, this is not required to set up the link. You can easily go back and add them after the fact, or our network success management team can do that as well for you. So for now, I'm going to leave that blank and I'm not going to add an email. I'm going to select next. And then I'm going to select the roles that our partner should have associated with this link. So you can see here that there are a lot of different roles. They are broken up by our different orchestrations. If you ever are curious of what the different roles are, I encourage you to look at the Help Center, and it can easily tell you which roles do what things, so you can know that you're assigning them the correct roles. For the purpose of this, I'm actually going to just pick all transactions for our partners. So I'm going to select the all role down here. And then I'm going to click link. What this is doing is it's taking that partner that you have added to your master data, which is your view of the supply chain, and it's matching it against that almost 300,000 entities that TraceLink has in our supply chain network. It's using that global identifier that you added to find the correct company so that you can trust that the entity on the other side you're exchanging data with is the correct entity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to make sure that it works. So I'm going to find our generics process network, and I'm going to search for that. I come down here and I can see right here that we made that link to the Appersona Labs company on the other side. And just like that, you're ready to start exchanging data with that partner. If for whatever reason, the link does not show up here on this page, you can check the Fail tab here to see if it failed for some reason. A reason it might fail is, one, the partner wasn't on the network, and what we'll do is we'll simply add that for you. Or two, that identifier that you used wasn't on the network. Again, the network success team will add that identifier and quickly resolve that link for you. So now you have completed your SAP integration to TraceLink. You are able to exchange data with any and all partners using that single integration that we have just built. Unlike traditional point-to-point models like EDI, TraceLink takes digital exchange and we really flip it on its head. With our game-changing integrate once methodology combined with our canonical, that allows you to integrate your native SAP system and scale to any and all partners on the other side. You're also backed by a team of people here at TraceLink, our network success and program management team, that is going to act like an augmentation of your team. They're here to support you throughout this entire journey. As you can see, Mint delivers game-changing results. I was working with a customer the other day to onboard their CMOs. We were able to, in a fraction of the time, get all of their CMOs onboarded to the Mint solution to send data into their SAP system. They were able to see a 10% increase in operational efficiency and really improve their on-time in full deliveries from the CMOs to their distribution center. By participating on the TraceLink network, you're able to have the collective network effect and take advantage of all of the other integrations and all of the other links made on the network, because every integration is reusable from each trade partner. This real-time data that you're able to achieve is going to allow you to have more collective intelligence. Want to learn more? Contact us to schedule a demo or visit tracelink.com/resources/TraceLink University to explore more. Thank you for watching and have a great day.